Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So another Sunday has passed, so that means we got HBO The Last of Us episode 2, and so I wanted to talk about it. So of course, this review won't be as long as last time, I hope. And also, my computer's working again, I hope. Episode 2 did happen, and it's gonna be crazy because oh my god, there's a football game playing and we had family over. So I was in the other living room while everybody was screaming their heads off because of a football game, and I was like just trying to pay attention. So I had to watch it like 2 times. I only watched it twice. I was gonna watch it 3 times, but then my mom was like, "My turn to watch TV." And you guys know I watch on cable, so it's kind of hard. I don't have HBO Max, so I can't just like turn it on my computer or on my phone. So I watch through cable. Anyways, let's start with episode 2. So obviously we do know that Neil Druckmann, who directed the first Last of Us game, directed this one. So that's pretty interesting, right? So he directed this episode, which I thought was very cool. That they gave him the chance to direct. You know, he directed the first game and the second. He co-directed the second game. But yeah, I just thought it was like so like cool that he was able to. And I also found it interesting that because I'm pretty sure he wrote all the screenplays with Craig Mazin, who is the producer and is also a showrunner for The Last of Us. They wrote the show together. It was interesting to see that Neil chose this episode rather than any other episode to direct. I thought it was very interesting. At least, I mean, we all know it was Tessa's final moments. I mean, I know like there's a couple of people that I talked to and they were like hoping that it wouldn't be that one, but unfortunately it was that episode. Also, there's going to be spoilers, so I forgot to mention, but if you're watching this, like the video, come back, and then we can talk about it once you're done. Sorry, I forgot my spoiler warning. There it is. So this episode starts with a flashback that seems like it's gonna be a reoccurring theme in the show where they start with flashbacks, which I don't mind. I thought it was interesting that we go straight to, I think it was called Jakarta. I butchered that. I'm so sorry if I did. But like in the first episode, it's like hinted at that there's like a bunch of like bombings and stuff, and then they're like, what's going on? We don't know. We actually find out why that happened, and then we see how like all that unravels, which I thought was very interesting in the sense that it was like, oh, it did. Actually, I did talk about this theory, and apparently it was right. People did. I posted that video on YouTube, and I also posted a shorter version on TikTok. And a bunch of people came into my TikTok comments, and they were like, "This one has already been confirmed." And then people were complaining, but it's fine. So apparently, it was confirmed that contaminated flour, was the reason for the infection to spread the fungi, cordyceps. Which I thought was interesting. And then we actually see like a person, and then we see like someone like a scientist like in the mouth. That was gross, nasty. But yeah, so that was actually interesting to see. Like you see the bite, and then like when she cut it open, it was like great. I don't know what was that. Does anybody know? Because I was like, why is that bone? Didn't look like bone. So yeah, that was very weird. And then it's kind of scary because I've noticed that this is a recurring thing. In the first intro, we hear someone say, we're gonna lose. Like we can't win um, a fungi pandemic. And then we have this flashback in this episode, and like the lady saying is like, there's no cure. You have to kill everybody before they get everybody. And it's like, what? Like it's so like what? Like it's very confusing. Which I thought was like this show is like telling us over and over and over again that you can't win, you can't beat this. So it was like, huh, like what's the purpose of the show then? Which I find very interesting because like if the show is constantly telling an audience that there's no reason for a cure, why are they continuing it in the show? I think this is just me speculating that it could be like, oh, maybe this time it's different. Maybe this time it's different because there's actually an immune person. And I think that's what they're trying to set up. But I mean, we all know how it ends, right? Nudge, nudge, the video game players. If you haven't played the video games, then just ignore me. I just find that very interesting that it's just constantly telling us you can't win. So it's like, well, what are we doing here, right? Yeah. So, anyways, then we fast forward. It's the next day, and unlike the video games, which is like the first biggest change is that unlike the video games, because right away, which I will say, I did like have like a whole week to like think about it. I will say that scene at the end when Tess finds out that, or Tess and Joel find out that Ellie is immune, or they see her bite, and she's like, "No, I'm immune. I'm not infected." Once we saw that scene, I was like, okay, like they just went through it quick, and then they dipped, but like they didn't really, you know. I think I like the scene better in the game. Not that I'm saying that I didn't like the one in the show, but I feel like they just like pushed past it. They're like, okay, she's infected. We gotta get out of here. I mean, I know it's realistic, and I did talk about it, like how realistic it is compared, but like it's like, why do we just shrug it off? I did like, although in the second episode that we did get that chance to like have Joel and Tess literally watch Ellie as she sleeps. They watch her as she sleeps, and then they're like, is she gonna turn? Is she gonna turn now? Is she turning now? No, she's awake. So yeah, I did find that I did actually like that scene because like, they're talking about it, like, should we do this, should we do that, and all that stuff. And then I thought it was funny when Ellie wakes up and then they just have the guns on her and they're like, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I really did like that scene actually because it was just nice to actually like have Joel and Tess have their moment and like discuss the truth of it. Like, is it real or did Marlene just give them an infected girl? So it's like, yeah, I thought that was cool. And then I have some notes, by the way. I have some notes on my phone. So the next scene, we see them actually go outside and it's daytime because, unlike the game, everything took place at night during that time. And then it would slowly get morning by the time we made it to the Capitol building. But this time it's like, oh, it's morning, let's go. I thought it was cool that we actually got to see the outside during the day because, we saw it at night. And they did kind of like give us a little hint of that in the first episode. And I thought that was nice to give a little nudge to the game with that shot. But I actually did prefer seeing it in the daytime because I feel like we weren't able to appreciate how gorgeous it looked when the world was like on a post-apocalyptic like look. It looks really nice. Like, seeing nature take back and then all the buildings destroyed. So great. So great. This is sarcasm, by the way. But yeah. So I think I did enjoy seeing that in the daytime. Personally, just because we got to see it, like, whoa, like it looked cool, right? Like, or at least that's what I thought. It looked cool. So another thing was that they moved the hotel scene. So obviously we know the hotel scene, but we know it takes place after when Tess says goodbye. So I thought it was interesting that they moved it, but I kind of liked it because it did give more depth and humanity to Ellie and Tess, because there was a moment when like Ellie was just acting like a kid and pretending, she lived in, or she was going to a nice hotel and stuff. And then you just see like Tess kind of appreciate her for that. And then also there's a little thing within that scene, I don't know if you guys noticed, but when Ellie bumps into the skull or like the skeleton, she gets scared or whatever, and then Joel helps her up. Like, he like takes his hand out, right? She grabs it, and then like immediately, like when she's like steady and up, he like pulls his hand away because he's like get away, Like, I kind of like that Joel is very like, she's just cargo. I don't care about her. I don't want to care about her. Even though like his paternal instincts are saying otherwise. So I do kind of like that Joel is kind of having that kind of struggle with Ellie where he's like, yeah, no. You get what I'm saying? Where he's like, yeah, like, nope, I don't want to get attached to this girl. Like, she's just like, just gotta drop her off somewhere and that's it. And but like, paternal instinct always takes in, like, we saw in the first episode when he takes down the soldier and stuff. So I do find it interesting that like he's trying to fight it as well. And that was like another hint to that. There was also in this episode, there was also a lot of Tess and Ellie moments, and it only made me wish that we could have gotten more in the games. Like, I'm like, Tess would have been a good mother to Ellie, mother figure to Ellie. So it was nice to have them have more scenes together and like more talking to each other, and like Tess trying to understand Ellie and then Ellie trying to understand the infected from Tess's worldview, which I also thought was interesting in that scene when Tess was explaining that every infected is connected to each other and how like it's literally just like one strain and it's all of them. Like, I thought that was so cool, and it does make like the infected more dangerous in this game. It's like when they're like, if you step on one like fungi piece there, bunch of infected are gonna know you're right there, and then they're gonna go get you. Like, that's crazy. That's actually scary. I don't know. Did anyone else think that was freaky? Because I thought it was like totally freaky. The museum scene. The museum scene, guys. So that was the most impressive scene in the whole show. And I think like it made sense for it to be. Like, everything was just like plot, the museum scene, which I thought was like nice because the museum scene is very impressive, like in the game just in general, but like actually seeing it in live action was actually crazy because it was very accurate. You know, it felt smaller in live action, like the museum just in general felt smaller, but like it was very impressive. Like I like it looked like just like the museum. It was kind of crazy. And then we saw our first live action clicker. I was like, oh my god, like I was like so happy. Like I don't know, it just like made me happy to see a clicker because it wasn't CGI where you can like tell it's like so fake. Like it was actual like actual actors and like prosthetics and it looked cool and I mean obviously there was a mix of a little bit of like CGI in there, but for the most part it looked so real and it was like very believable that that was a clicker and they were in danger. And I do like that, unlike the games, because you know like you could just have Joel go boo 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 boo, they're done. Like they actually made it difficult, like for Joel and Tess. Like you know Joel like shoots the clicker like twice in the chest, doesn't go down. He's running away, he's dropping things, he has to reload. He takes a long time to reload because actually when I played the games it was very hard to like to reload. Just me, I don't know, it's probably just me. But yeah, it you know it's just like the game makes things 10 times more easier when you're fighting clickers. Not for me, but you know just in general it's easier. So I thought it was interesting to see that, like you know, to show like the realness of it, and to show that it is hard to take down infected, and that Joel and Tess aren't these cool crazy people that can take down a bajillion clickers in like 5 minutes. Like no, it's gonna take a while, it's gonna hurt. You know, some people are gonna get bitten, some people are gonna get bitten again, which is another thing, is that I really like that they showed that Ellie got bit twice, because you know we don't have the spores, we can't have Ellie breathe in spores for Joel to be like, oh shit, like you actually are immune. They had to figure out how to do it another way, and another way to do it was to connect it with Tess, was that we have Ellie who got bitten and nothing happens. And she's like, well, there had to be someone. Might as well have been me, you know? And then like Joel's like, what the fuck? And then Tess sees it, and then, you know, when they reach the Capitol building, she's just like, bro, this is for reals. Like, you know, like she's infected. Like, look at mine. And hers was like bulging out and stuff. But yeah, that was really sad, by the way. And I don't like that. I kind of liked how Tess got bitten in the game, because you see her struggle against an infected, but like it's very subtle that you see the infected bite her. But here in the show, we just don't see Tess at all. We don't see her fight an infected at all. You know, she throws the hammer at the infected, but like that's it. Or the axe. What was it? It was probably an axe. But yeah, like we don't see her like even like insinuate that she got bitten or anything. Like it wasn't subtle, it just didn't happen, which I kind of thought was a bummer, you know. I feel like they did want to focus more on Joel and Ellie within the museum rather than Tess, which is fine. But yeah, that was probably just like my one of two complaints. We'll get to my second one soon. But yeah, once they reach the Capitol building, fast forward. Oh, wait, I forgot to mention. I did like the scene where they literally copied it like shot by shot with the Capitol building when he's like, "Is this everything you hope for?" And then Ellie's like, "Can't deny the view though." Like that was a good scene. Like if they had to recreate one scene, that was a good one to recreate. Then we head on over to the Capitol building, and it's different this time. You know, we know they're not there as video game players. We know it's Pedro took down the Fireflies, but they did change it in the story and they are in the show, and they made it so that it was someone got infected. They fight the infected. They all infect each other. They all die. Or no, you know they take down the infected take down them. Nobody won. Which I thought was interesting. I actually really like that instead. You know, just to show that you know the infected stuff is still at large. And also they got away from Fedra, which is nice. Like they don't have to show Fedra everywhere. And you know those parts like gameplay wise are heavy, and also the scene leading up to that after the capital scene has to do with Fedra and the spore, mostly the spores. So there's like really no reason for them to put that in there. So I just thought like that change didn't bother me much. I just thought it was more interesting that it's like, oh wow, like it happens. In fact, it happens, you know. Other than that is Tess's biggest scene. So I didn't realize this, but other people realize this. So this is just stuff on Twitter. Is that you know when Tess is like, that's not like when Joel's like, dude, we gotta go, and then Tess is like, no, I'm not going. That's not my home. I'm not going home. And it kind of insinuates Joel and Tess's relationship, because then later she's like they're like going back and forth and stuff, and then Tess is like, she's like you won't. I don't know exactly what she says. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna like butcher it, but this is just from my what I am getting as close to what she said in my head. Is she says something along the lines like, you might not feel the same way as me with this, but like you gotta go and take Ellie like to Bill and Frank. Um, and with that, I kind of felt like it's because Tess loved Joel more than he loved her. And I'm not saying that, Tess was the one head over heels in the relationship. Like, she had her own thoughts and ideas with the relationship, and so did he. But I think within that line is that she's like, Boston isn't my home. She's from Michigan. Uh, she doesn't want this life. She lives it because she has to. Same with Joel. And yeah, maybe she fell in love with someone, but that person is incapable of loving her in the capacity that she would like to be loved. Joel does love her, but he loves her in the only way that he can, which is at a very limited capacity because he lost his first love of his life. We don't know anything about his wife. Maybe we will later. He lost Sarah, of course. And then, he's just like, he's not with his brother, so he's just in a constant losing battle. And so it is kind of hard for him to love people, and Tess knows this, and she loves him despite it, despite all these facts. And so within that line in that scene, it kind of like struck like, oh, right, like this is the end for her, and she wants the best for Joel and for Ellie, even though she barely met her. But yeah, that's like my takeaway from that scene. So I didn't like, someone had brought it up on Twitter, in a group chat that I'm in. So I was like contemplating it, and I was like, damn, she really loved Joel. And that makes me sad. Oh my god. She really loved Joel, and he loved her in the best way that he could, but it just wasn't enough. Oh man. But anyways, I didn't like her death scene. I'm sorry. Not that I prefer the video game version because she literally just gets like down and that's it. But I feel like it could have been way more impactful if she had a heroic ending. But we know Neil Druckmann, he doesn't like heroic endings. So Tess doesn't really get that. An infected kisses her. An infected kisses her? What? Yes, an infected does kiss her. It's weird. And a lot of people in the group chat were like, this is not who we wanted Tess to kiss, And I know that I don't know how infection works like in there, but people were like, well, they can't kiss because saliva, She's infected and has saliva. But what the like, we're just like, whoa, we didn't want this kiss. Thanks, but we didn't want it. I know there's probably like some huge explanation by Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, and I haven't listened to the podcast, and I didn't listen to it on purpose because I wanted to create this video with my own thoughts first, and then to be like, okay, I get where they're going with this. I don't know what it meant, but unless it was just another way to show those things go inside her mouth and like what they do to connect other infected people with each other. It just didn't hit, like it just made me feel uncomfortable, and I know it made a lot of other people uncomfortable. I saw it all over Twitter. People were like, what the hell is that? So yeah, I don't know. It just weirded me out, and I didn't like that she wasn't able to have a heroic ending, but we know Neil, he doesn't like heroic endings, which is fine. It's fine to not like it, but it would have been nice if Tess had one, We all love Tess. It would have been cool to see her just blow the Capitol building to bits without being kissed by an infected, but whatever. I didn't write the show. But yeah, that's pretty much how it ends, Ellie or Joel takes Ellie away, and she's like fighting him. She's like, no, screw you, I don't want to go with you, blah blah blah. Which I like that instead of the game version, because in the game version, Ellie's just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, but we gotta go. But in this one, Joel's just like, you're coming with me, and then Ellie's fighting him for it, and then we just see the Capitol building blow up to bits. Like, that's pretty much my only complaint is the whole kiss, because it's like, oh, it just like, maybe they were going for a whole uncomfortableness with that. I don't know what they were thinking. I have to listen to the podcast. Once I do, I probably will get more answers. But yeah, those are my thoughts on episode 2's HBO's The Last of Us. Let me know what your thoughts were on the episode in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video if you like this review, and also don't forget to hit subscribe. I do gaming videos. I stream from time to time. Right now I'm streaming The Witcher 3. I do have gameplay of The Last of Us Part 2, and then I have replays of both games, and I have a playthrough of the DLC, both on the remaster and also of the remakes. If any of you guys are interested in that, I also have those. They are all on the homepage of my YouTube, and I will also link them down below, so you guys can also have them there as well. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I did like the episode. I did like it a lot. Like, don't get me wrong, I liked it. Like, of course, how could I not? I was just like a couple things where I was like, especially with the whole kiss thing. But yeah, I did like it. But comparing it to the first one is definitely better. But I don't want to do the whole comparing this episode to this one. But I will say I am excited for the Bill and Frank episode. It's very centered towards them. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's a filler episode. I don't think so. I think it's gonna be great. And I like that it differs from the game, and like it's something new and something different, and I think it's gonna be great to explore. So I'm very excited for that one. But yeah, like I said, don't forget to hit like, and don't forget to add your comments, and also don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about it with you guys in the comments down below. So goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this review, if you watched it all the way to the end, and I will see you guys all next week with another review for episode 3. So bye, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, night, whatever it is. Bye.